Hello, Real Producers. This is Kristen Brindley, and it's an honor to have Carlos Espinoza on here for our September issue. Thank you so much for being on with us, Carlos.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Kristen.
Absolutely. And I love this family photo right here too.
Oh,
So, you are on our September issue. If y'all haven't read it, make sure you check it out. And, you earned your spot on the cover, 30 million this past year, over 300 million in your career. You've been through the different markets too. You've been around since 2005 and you've thrived the whole time. I'm looking forward to hearing your story. So, you could have done anything. Why real estate? Like what started this journey? Tell us about it.
all right. Well, and thanks for that amazing introduction again. And you know, excited to be here, be able to tell my story. And it was definitely not on purpose that I landed in the real estate business. I got in 2005, fresh out of college. My family, my two sisters were in real estate. One was a loan officer, the other one was a realtor. And back in 2005, the market was, hot. Almost like it was, last year, 2021. And they asked me, they said, "Hey, Carlos, have you thought about getting into real estate? It's going very well for us."
Why not? Right? Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, no, I haven't really thought of that. I always had dreams of, moving to Florida and working for, an import-export company, traveling through South America, Central America, doing like international business. And I said, you know what? I said, let me give real estate a try. So I got my license, and right off the bat, like I started doing well. And I said, am I good at this? And then haven't turned back since then.
You are good at this. What's been the biggest challenge? So, 2005 to now, like what biggest challenge for you?
So the biggest challenge is really we give our all to our clients, and my biggest challenge is really just trying to be that steady hand for them. We are there from the highs of the highs to the lows of the lows. We're there with that first time home buyer purchasing that first house. They're super excited. And then we're dealing with sometimes people going through a divorce, or going through some financial hardship, and having to deal with that. So for me, it's just being that steady person, someone that they can rely on, be there for them, and make sure that I put all the emotion aside.
Tell us a little bit about your business. Like you have, I think you said you have 4 agents, a couple of them newer, a transaction coordinator, marketing. Like tell us how all this kind of came about. Like how long were you on your own, and then when did you start your team?
That's right. Yeah. So I would say 2019 is when I got my first agent to work with me. And then before then, I want to say it's about 2017, was my assistant or transactions coordinator. It really got like my business really just got really busy, and it just got to the point where I just couldn't do it all myself. And especially back then, I did focus a little bit on more the investment side of things, flipping, some buy and holds, flipping about 3 houses a year, and I just needed that help, that support. So Caroline, which is still with me today, it's been about 5 years. So she got on board, and I would say that's what really made the difference for me, was just having that person by my side to just help me with kind of just work through everything that we go through. And then getting her really just helped me build my business, especially on the realtor side of things. And then got Yuri, our first agent, which is still on our team now. He's amazing. And then we have consistently grown since then. The following year, we got Francisco. He's off to a great start. And then just last year, we have 2 new agents that have joined the team, and we're getting up to speed.
Well, that's beautiful, and it's a growth journey. It didn't happen all at once. It's that success story that just builds on itself. You know what I mean? Like, um, What about like, how does this fit in your dreams and goals? I mean, you have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, like, so how does real estate fit into your dreams and goals? And yeah.
Well, it's certainly a challenge, especially since you're getting pulled in, every direction. But I think that, what's important to me is always to provide a good example to my kids, and show them that, that it's important to set goals and strive to achieve those goals, right? So I think that, me trying to grow or like my business, um, I can, that's a teaching moment for, my kids as well too, to show that like, listen, like I am always are trying to continue to learn, right? Just like they're learning, right? I want to continue to learn and be able to grow. And look, one day, my goal is to have a team, so good that it can strive without me. That's my goal is to have that, have that amazing team, have all the agents just be very successful. That's what for me would be a success.
Well, it's funny. I was going to ask you to define success for us. So, what within that, like, define what is success to you?
Yeah, so it's that. So it's really just by leading by example, right? And being able to help the people around you, right? So for me, that's a sign of success, is that if the people around me are successful, then that means that, I would think and hope that I've maybe had a part in that influence in helping them be successful as well. And that would make me like feel so good and feel fulfilled. And honestly, I would, you know, say it's a success.
I love it. Well, and I love the picture of your family in the publication, and you're lit up in that picture. Tell us a little bit about your family. Like,
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I have a 7 and 9 year old. They're just adorable. I mean, this age, everyone has is like Carlos cherish these moments because, like, trust me, once they're teenagers, it's the opposite. So yeah, so they're just they're my life. And I really, owe so much to my wife, Jessica. She's been there for me. She's really successful in her own right. And, her and I really just see eye to eye in so many things. We can really relate, a lot with what we kind of go through day to day. And it's been a really nice like family unit. And we want to raise our kids to also be driven, and so we work hard to kind of just set that example and continue growing as a family.
well, they have, great examples of mindset and discipline for sure. Like, I feel like great foundation right there. What are you
Yeah.
currently learning? Like, what are you working on right now? What are you currently learning?
So I'm learning more. A couple things. One, I want to learn more of the commercial space in our business. We've been doing residential for a long time. I feel like, I have that down. Of course, there's always, things that I need to continue learning on that. But I think the commercial space, there's a lot of opportunity there. I think that eventually I would want to own some commercial spaces. And just want to know more about that space. There's a lot of unknown there that I want to just explore. And also just learn more about increasing like from a real estate investment perspective, just increasing like or like a real estate portfolio, really how to manage that. Because, as realtors, we don't get a 401k, we don't get that 401k match from our employer. Really, like what we try to bank on is building up these investment portfolios, right? To have these investment properties that that can cash flow and eventually live off of once we decide to hang it up.
Beautiful. Well, I mean, you have curiosity and you're nimble. Like, I can see why you've done really well in all the different marketplaces, and I love that. I'm interested in those things myself. What are some hobbies and interests for you, like outside of the business? Is there anything y'all do together as a family or things that you really enjoy doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, travel, of course. Traveling is my favorite. I love to travel with my wife to, to tropical vacations, just kind of relax and kick back a bit. But also, we're going to start focus more on traveling internationally a lot more, especially now that we can travel more freely. It's important for my kids. So my family's originally from El Salvador. I speak Spanish, but my kids aren't the best Spanish speakers. I would say it's very little that they can speak in Spanish. So it's important for me to make sure that they're exposed to, to Spanish and for them to practice Spanish, but also learn other cultures. So, we did a big Disney trip last year, so we kind of got that out of the way. And then going forward, our goal is to visit a different country every year with our kids. Spend time just just exploring the areas, the culture, right? And then having our kids just learn that, like, look, there's different ways to do things, right? Like people just do things differently. It's not because it's not good. It's just different. People do it differently, and they're just and they're just a happy or even happier. So that's one of my goals, and that's what I'm really excited about to do with the family. And then for me myself, like I love to play golf. Like I love golf. I'm not the best golfer, but I love just to get out there. There's nothing better than just being in a nice, beautiful open field, hanging out with some of your best friends, and just enjoy the day, just enjoy the scenery. So that's what I really like to do.
I love it. Or do you have any favorite quotes or any like books or things that have impacted you?
Yeah, so one of my favorite quotes, it's a Steve Jobs quotes. I think probably a lot of people have heard already. It's the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who actually do. And like I love that quote mainly because it really shows that it's okay to be different. It's okay to be different. Someone that's different. Some of the people may think they're a little crazy, that they're out there, but those are the ones that are actually make the moves that change the industries, that change the world. And it's something that I try to remember when like I am I don't know, maybe doing something differently, or looking for ways to do something differently, because that's the way you're going to be able to get ahead and maybe change things. And in terms of books, like I love the actually, like one of my favorite books is uh, the um, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Just learning the right habits, just understanding that like the majority of things we do a lot of times are just because of habit. So it's just little things like that we can just change. Our day-to-day habits can really make a big impact on our life and on our productivity.
I thank you. Everybody should read that book. Sounds like a fantastic book. I think I actually read it a few years ago too. Like that's a
Hmm.
great book.
Hmm.
Thank you for bringing that one up. I appreciate that. Um, Also, speaking of different, what sets apart, like what sets you apart or makes you different, would you say?
So what makes me different, I think, is I always try to look at the big picture on things. Like I try not to get too into the weeds with the details. I always try to look at the big picture, try to zoom out, and try to figure out why things are happening. Right. So I think for me that's one, and also I like to try to remain humble, like regardless of what's happening, regardless if I had a great year or just a lot of success, or huge investment deal go through. Like it's just about being humble and knowing that, like, that it worked well, and you know what, let's just try to look for the next opportunity. Let's always continue to look for the next opportunity. There's always something more we can do, something, you know maybe we can help someone out, a community out, right? Like, and one thing that I've learned, I think that we've all learned over the last a couple of years because of the pandemic, is that things can change overnight. If you remember, early 2020, everyone's living the life and living their normal life and having a great time. And then just really overnight, everything got shut down, and we were thinking, what's this pandemic? Like, what's this COVID? And everyone now is shut down in their house. And, we and at that moment, it's certainly, I was very grateful for the people around me, for the family, just the little things in life. I think that's what matters.
Thank you. I love that answer.
Yeah.
What do you think have been like the biggest reason or reasons for your success, Carlos?
So one of the biggest reasons for my success, I feel, is just trying to continue to grow. I think in any business, right? I think if you're not growing, you're dying. I think it's always about waking up and saying, "Hey, like, what can I do today to continue to grow, and be able to help the people around me?" Right? I think that's the number one goal is every day just waking up saying, "Hey, like I need to figure how to solve these issues and continue to grow."
What about failure? What has been a failure you learned a lot from that you could share that experience? And we always learn a lot from those kind of things. I feel like what's a big
Yeah.
what did you learn from it? Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so failure is the best teacher, right? It's the best teacher. Yeah, and it can sting. And I would say one of my biggest failures really is back in 2008, 2009, when we went through the great recession and the big market crash, was really not being in position to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that came about. I remember I was very young back then. I was in my mid 20s, and of course, I started off. I thought I was a great realtor in the beginning, but didn't save any money. And then when the recession came, it really just stopped everything. And business wasn't the same. It changed, and I remember not being able to, yeah, to really do a lot, in terms of like investment was like zero. I barely had enough money to buy my girlfriend, now wife, an engagement ring back then. But I remember I had one deal that I closed. It was a good deal that it was just enough money to buy her a ring. I think I might have been late on my rent back then, but I was able to buy her the ring. And I think that, yeah, that I would say was a great learning experience, that just not being prepared for a down market, which I think we're probably going through something similar now. I don't think it's going to be as extreme, but I think that, because of those lessons, I think that now I'm in a better position to be able to thrive during any potential downturn.
So there's a lot of sage advice and all of that too for everyone. So what do you think this is one of my favorite questions. What do you think you would like to be remembered for, Carlos? Like, what would you like to be remembered for?
That's a great question. So I'd like to be remembered for my hard work, right? For my hard work, and for always leaving something better than what I got. I think that's important to me. I think, any house that I've purchased that I lived in, I've always, done updates. I've always taken care of the house. I've always making sure that, that we're like the house of the beautiful house of the neighborhood, because I want to make sure that we bring everyone else up. And then when I sell that house, someone else is going to take over and say, wow, they did a great job maintaining this house. This is beautiful, and like I do that, not just with my own houses, but any investments that I do too. Like from an investment perspective, to revitalize communities really brings me a lot of joy. To help some communities that maybe have some rundown properties, for us to help fix them and revitalize those areas and the people living there. That really means a lot to me, and I would and that's what I want to be remembered for, is really just to helping the community, and being able to just leave things a lot better than how I got it.
Well, it's an honor to have you on our cover. I'm so glad you're here with us today. If y'all didn't read his story, make sure you do. It's a September issue, DC Metro Real Producers. And Carlos, it's an honor to have you on. And, I'll see you soon at an event coming up. And
Absolutely.
thank you.